Good afternoon, folks. My name is Hitzemann, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. The purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I'll determine if probable cause exists for those charges. Probable cause simply means it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, more likely than not that you're the person who committed that crime. Of course, as you stand before me this afternoon, I presume that you're innocent of these allegations. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings, unless and until the state is able to prove the charges against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. I'll set your conditions of pretrial release this afternoon, that is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule. Here in the 5th Judicial Circuit, or the warrant which led to your arrest, I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you this afternoon. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you have not had a chance to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with us. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. So now I need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. You all solemnly swear affirm, tell the truth, whole truth, none but the truth. Outstanding. When you hear your name called, please step forward to the podium. Alicia Adams. Afternoon, Alicia. What's your date of birth?
July 27th, 1985.
All right, Alicia, I got 5 charges today, 2 counts of retail theft, 1 count possession of methamphetamine, 1 count possession of controlled substance, 1 count possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire a private attorney. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
A public defender, please.
I'll appoint the PD. State, what can you tell me?
Your Honor, in August of 2018, she was released from DOC. And that looks like she had a 2016 withhold on possession of paraphernalia, but she also had an adjudication that same time for possession of alprazolam, a withhold on possession of paraphernalia, an adjudication for possession of heroin. Also in 2013, she had an adjudication for battery. In 2010, she had a petty theft second degree, third or subsequent offense. In 2010, she had possession of paraphernalia. 2010, she had her first petty theft. She also had some PTIs in 2009 for possession of marijuana, and an adjudication in 2010 for possession of alprazolam, and a 2008 petty theft, and a 2003 DUI.
All right. Alicia, where you been staying lately? You staying with somebody else or living outdoors? What's going on?
I actually live in Pinellas County, St. Petersburg, with my mother.
Okay. Do you know the address there?
4000 24th Street North, Lot 215, 33714.
Are you working these days?
I'm actually looking for work.
Okay. All right. We'll set your bond at $1,000 on each of the 5 counts. That's a total of $5,000. I'm going to have you back in court on the 15th of October. Very important that you contact the public defender if you get out, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Kelly? Afternoon, Kelly. What's your date of birth?
May 17th, 1981.
All right, Kelly, what I have for you is a warrant out of Pasco County. Judge down there, Judge Public, thinks you failed to appear on account of driving on suspended license. He set your bond at $5,013. I can't change that. If you can post that bond, you can get out of jail here, go down to Newport Richey, find out when they want you in court. If you can't post that bond, I'll give them 5 days to come and get you. Doesn't take 5 with Pasco, but if for some strange reason you're still here in 5, they'll bring you back to see me and I'll find out what the holdup is, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Angelica Rivera. Ms. Rivera, what's your date of birth?
5/16/81.
Charge is possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
Appoint the PD, state.
Your Honor, in addition to an open burglary case that she has here in Hernando County, she had adjudication for driving while license suspended in 2017, as well as resisting an officer without violence, possession of marijuana, and DUI. So we would ask that she bond be revoked for the 2019 CF 1645.
Very good. All right, and that's coming back on the 17th. All right, Ms. Rivera, then, given your situation in this case, I'll appoint the public defender. The bond on this will be $1,000. However, job number one, when you're out on bond, is don't pick up new criminal charges. It appears to me that you have. Therefore, pursuant to Florida Statute 903.0471, I'm going to revoke your pretrial release in 19 CF 1645. That case comes back on the 17th of September. You'll be back in front of Judge Merritt, I think.
Tomorrow, right?
What's that? Tomorrow. Yep. He has the ability, if he wishes, to revisit your bond on that case, but until you see him, you'll be on no bond, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
When they coming back on this one?
10:15, sorry.
Oh.
That's what it says. That's not right, though. Yeah, it is 10:15. No, 10:15 can't be right.
It's a misdemeanor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There we go. Okay. Everett Dix. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
1/3/71.
Everett have 3 charges: possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and trespass. There's probable cause for those 3 charges. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender,
I'll
sir.
appoint the PD, state.
In 2018, he was adjudicated for burglary. And it looks like he did DOC time, but I don't see what his release date was. Also in 2018 was an adjudication for grand theft, a failure to appear on that case. There's some previous DOC time. In 2018, he also had driving on license suspended. He was released from DOC in 2016. He had some violations of probation, felony petty theft in 2015. There were a couple of those. There was also a DOC release date of 2014 for felony petty thefts. And possession of paraphernalia. Also in 2014, possession of cocaine. Probation violations and petty theft. 2000.
Everett, I've got an address for you on West Star Court in Homosassa. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there?
I've lived there all my life, sir.
You have a job these days?
I was looking to go to work for Colony Stone.
Okay. I'll leave the bonds per the schedule, which is $2,000 on a meth, $1,000 on the 2 misdemeanors. The total is $4,000. You'll be back in court on October 15th. If you get out, make sure you contact the public defender right away, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Brian Hatton. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
8/24/82.
Brian, the first thing I have is a warrant signed by Judge Toner. Apparently you failed to appear in his court on a charge of grand theft. And then we have 2 new charges, driving on a suspended license and possession of 2 counts of possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for those. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, state.
He has an adjudication for possession of paraphernalia in 2019, as well as possession of marijuana. He had a PTI for grand theft in 2019. Probably still open.
Is that
And-
this, maybe?
It might be 2002. He had PTI for cannabis. That's pretty much it.
Brian, I got an address for you on Weeping Willow Street in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
Since 91.
All right. And you have a job these days?
Not at the moment.
Judge Toner's warrant, I'm going to leave the bond at the $2,000. That'll be back in front of him on October the 11th. They may have told you the 15th. The right date is the 11th. On the misdemeanor charges, I'm going to set the bond at $500 on all three, so that's a total of $1,500. Those are coming back on October 8th. Make sure that you contact the public defender if you get out, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Charles James. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
1258.
Charles, I got two charges today of driving under the influence and operating a motorcycle without the proper endorsement. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Yes, I need a public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, state.
Looks like there was a lot of stuff in the 80s and 90s for burglary, bad checks, thefts. They were all out of state.
Okay.
There was a 2011 arrest in Pasco for being a fugitive from justice for out of state. In 1980, he had a grand theft in Florida. That's it.
All right. And, sir, I have an address for you on Colfax Drive in Port Richey. Is that where you live?
Yes.
How long you been there?
6 years.
You working these days?
No, so I'm disabled.
Okay. I'll set your bond at $500 on each count. That's a total of $1,000. I'll have you back in court October 8th. Make sure you contact the public defender when you get out, all right?
Yes.
Thank you. Brian Leftwich. Afternoon, Ryan. What's your date of birth?
02/21/89.
All right, Ryan, you're here on a warrant set by Judge Toner. Apparently you failed to appear in his court on 2 counts, possession of controlled substance and resisting without. Did you have an attorney on that case, Ryan?
Yes, sir.
Was it a private attorney or a public defender?
It was a public defender, sir.
You want to continue with the PD?
Yes, sir, if that's possible.
It's possible. I'll leave your bond per Judge Toner's warrant, which is $2,000 each count for a total of 4. I'm going to change the date. You'll be back on October 11th. They told you the 15th. The right day is the 11th. If you get out, make sure you contact your PD right away, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Lance McCrae. Afternoon, Lance. What's your date of birth?
1/3/91.
Lance, the charge is grand theft auto. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, state.
Just a 2017 driving on suspended license.
Lance, I got an address for you on Kaufman Road in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
My entire life.
All right, you got a job these days?
Kind of self-employed.
What do you kind of do?
Hay, cattle, fencing, stuff like that.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $1,000. I'll have you back in court on October 15th. Make sure you contact the PD when you get out, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Robert Rieger. Incoming. Sorry. Afternoon, Robert. What's your date of birth?
4/18/48.
Robert, charges aggravated battery being domestic in nature because it's on a person over 65. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Represent myself.
All right. You understand that even though it doesn't seem like a serious incident to you, the maximum penalty is 5 years in the Florida Department of Corrections. You still want to represent yourself?
Does it make a difference if I get a public defender?
Would make a difference to me if I didn't know a darn thing about the law and I was charged with a crime that could result in me going to prison for 5 years.
Give me a public defender.
There you go. I'll appoint the public defender. State any history.
No, Your Honor.
Like enthusiasm.
And Robert, I've got an address for you on Oleander Drive in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Hernando Beach.
Okay. How long have you lived there?
6 years now.
Do you have a job these days?
I'm retired
Okay. And Gail lives there with you?
for now.
Okay. To set your bond at $1,000. Condition of the bond is that you'll have no contact with Gail while this charge is pending. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message. You don't contact her through a third person. Don't contact her through any social media. You don't go where she lives. You don't go where she works. You don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine contacting her, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond will be revoked and you'll be held without bond until the charges are resolved. It means no contact even if she wants to contact. So if you answer your phone and hear her voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see her, you should turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that she cannot drop the charges against you. That is not a decision she'll ever be allowed to make. She may go to the state attorney's office and ask them to drop the charges, but that decision belongs specifically and only to the assistant state attorney handling your case. So unless that person or the judge on your case or your attorney tells you the charges are dropped, you should assume they are not dropped and you should not have contact. In addition, I have to hold you this afternoon up until 4 p.m. so that if she wanted to serve you with a civil injunction for protection against domestic violence, we'd know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, it's doubly important that you not have contact because in that case, not only would you get your bond revoked here, but you could get new charges for violating the injunction. As far as that home goes, as long as she continues to live there, you'll have to stay someplace else until we get this case resolved. You can go by one time to pick up your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever you need for wherever you plan to stay. To do that, however, you must contact the sheriff's office first. They'll meet you there with a deputy who will stand by while you pick up your things and get going where you're going. You'll be back in court on the 15th of October. I would suggest that you contact the public defender as soon as you get out, all right?
Okay.
Thank you. I'm going to need no contact order. All right. Michael Story. Afternoon, Mr. Story. What's your date of birth?
7/27/88.
Okay. Michael, the charge is driving under the influence. There's probable cause for the charge. As for that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire a private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
I'm going to try and sell my truck and hire my own lawyer.
Very good. State, what can you tell me?
It looks like most of this is out of state, maybe even all of it. There's a adjudication for battery in 2012, a possession of controlled substance in 2011, 2014, there's another domestic battery, 2017, there was a domestic battery. I'm thinking those are California.
Okay.
Then there's a 2006 receiving stolen goods. There's some thefts that I'm not sure what the disposition was, and a trespass, that there was an adjudication. Those were in South Carolina.
Okay. All right. And so I have an address for you on Woodlawn Avenue in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
For a year.
All right. You have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I'm a mechanic. I work for Quality Value Auto Repair in Brooksville.
Okay. I'll set your bond to $1,000. I'll have you back on October 8th. Make sure when you speak to your lawyer, tell him about that court date, okay?
Yes, sir. Is there any way I can get my bond lowered?
That's all we're going to do for today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sean Oling. Is this a time served? Is that what?
Judge, Mr. Bauer tells me he's pled out in Pasco, got 60 days. He's got a total of 21. Everything except one day was in Pasco County. We're asking for time served.
Did you know about this one, Allison?
Yes, I did look at the notes, and it looks like the offer was going to be 20 days. So
Okay, so he's good. All right, Sean, you want to resolve this misdemeanor with time served?
Yes, sir.
You understand by entering a plea today, you give up the right to have a trial by jury, the right to confront the witnesses against you, the right to remain silent. But you want to give up those rights so we can resolve this today?
Yes, sir.
Case number 19 CT 2230 as the charge that you drove knowing your license had been suspended or revoked How do you wish to plead? You can plead no contest.
Yeah.
I'll accept that no contest plea, find it was freely and voluntarily made. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 21 days in the county jail, credit 21 served. Finding court costs is $488 for the public defender's office. I will not order cross incarceration as you did most of your time someplace else. That takes care of this case, Sean. If there's nothing else keeping you in Hernando County, you're free to go back wherever you need to go next, all right?
All right. Will I be transferred today or sometime this week?
I'm not sure it'll happen right away. If you need to go back to Pasco,
Yes, sir.
it'll be today or tomorrow, I suspect.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet. All right, thanks, folks.
Everybody